Hello, good evening. Welcome, everybody. My name is Caroline Vasquez. I am from the Office of Graduate Studies. I'm just going to pause for a few seconds while everyone joins us. If you want to take a look in the chat, I've posted a few helpful links there. You're also welcome to pop in the chat and say hi and let me know where you're joining us from. We have students all over the globe this semester, so it's always fun to see where everyone is chiming in from. You're welcome to use that chat feature. And then if you have specific questions that you'd like me to answer during this session, we have the Q&A tab down at the bottom of the screen as well. Hampton Inn and Suites in Weybosset. Hey, close to campus. Welcome to Providence. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Again, my name is Caroline Vasquez. I'm the Assistant Director in the Office of Graduate Studies. I'm going to give you a really brief overview. This is only going to take about 30 minutes this evening. I want to let you know what's happening this week and in the coming weeks to help you get acclimated to life at RISD and life as a grad student here in Providence or remotely. We've got a lot of events coming up and a lot of resources online that are available to you. So I just wanted to give you a rundown of where to find the information that you need in the coming days and weeks. Once again, you're welcome to chime in the chat. I've posted some helpful links there, mainly the links that I'll be talking about this evening. And you're also welcome to use the Q&A button to ask any specific questions that you might be having right now that you'd like me to answer for you during this session as much as possible. So a little bit about the Office of Graduate Studies before I get started. Our office, you might be wondering what it is that we do because you have your graduate department and your graduate program coordinator and your department coordinator and your division all at RISD. The Office of Graduate Studies, we work across divisions and departments. We help all graduate students in the things that are common to everyone, no matter your department or your program. That includes things like the Graduate Commons courses, Graduate Commons grant, teaching opportunities during winter session. Some of the graduate assistantships are run through our office. And then we run graduate orientation. We also run a lot of co-curricular events throughout the semester, events that are meant to connect you with students who are in departments that aren't your own so that you get to know people socially and academically outside of your department. So all of those sorts of things, any issues that affect graduate students, no matter your department, we're usually involved in. We're here as a voice to help advocate for you within the institution. And you're always welcome to come to me and to our office with any questions that you have, any concerns, or if you just need to be pointed in the right direction for another resource, or if there's something we can do to help you during your time at RISD. My email address is there in the chat. You're always welcome to reach out by email, especially now as you're getting settled in the next couple of weeks. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of questions. So please, you're welcome to contact me directly. And if I don't know the answer, I'll help you find it. Let's see. One question that came up right away. Mark is saying, I'm still waiting to be registered for my 4th class. What happens if I don't get the 4th class? Who should I speak to? That is a great question for your graduate program director. If you have not already been in touch with them, they can help you with your degree plan and figuring out what you need to do for that. Second to your graduate program director, you can always contact your department coordinator. They're usually a wealth of information. They know the ins and outs of your program and can point you in the right direction and help you work with the registrar to get the answers that you need about that and any registration type questions. Let's see, there's someone saying, sorry, can you repost the link? If you want to let me know which link you're not seeing, I'd be glad to add that. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen and kind of guide you through a few of the resources that we have out there for you this week. Give me just a minute here. Sorry, I'm driving this event on my own tonight and make sure I get it right. Let's see. Sorry, y'all. Here we go. Okay, so where I'm starting, this is the graduate study website, graduatestudy.risd.edu. And you may be familiar with this from when you were going through the admissions process. Admissions has their own tab here on our site for that kind of information, but the tab you're going to be most interested in at this point is preparing for 2021. This is where we've put all the information that has to do with orientation, as well as any changes and things that are important due to the situation with the pandemic on campus. And that's why we want to make this information front and center for you, not just for new students, but for returning students as well. The first thing to look at, if you haven't already, is the orientation information. There is orientation online this year. There are 2 online modules for new students. You'll see here the new graduate orientation online, and you click that Start Now button to get there. And then the Title IX harassment training is mandatory for all new students as well. For those of you who are returning, you're going to keep scrolling down to the bottom of this page where you'll find the reorientation for returning students. What this module is all of that public health information that's mandatory for every RISD community member. So faculty and staff have also gone through a similar training. And this is just to keep you up to date on the expected behaviors and things that we'll all take part in collectively as a community to stay safe during the pandemic. For new students, that public health training is part of your new graduate student orientation module as well. From this page, we're asking that you complete this online orientation by the beginning of classes. So technically that's by September 10th. So we're hoping that in the next few weeks, the next 10 days, you'll have some time to complete those if you haven't already. From this page, as well as from the link at the top, you'll see this link to welcome events and webinars, and that's where I'm going to take you next. On this page, you're going to find some information about the schedule for the next few weeks. I know I've sent out several emails, and if you've already joined us on Facebook or some of the social media channels, you may have seen promotions for some of these events coming up. But this is where you'll find the complete schedule of orientation, welcome week type events that the Office of Graduate Studies is hosting. We've invited several resources and offices from across campus to meet with you through Zoom and present a little bit about what they offer, as well as how you can access those resources this semester, both for students who are on campus, but also those of you who are studying remotely. All of the offices have adapted so that they can make the great body of, content and resources and assistance available to you, whether you are physically here in Providence or if you're studying somewhere else remotely. So starting as early as tomorrow, we have events with the museum, the library, co-works, leading later into the week. We have several more you can see listed here. And then into next week, we have several different events that we encourage you, both new and returning students, to attend. And let me pop over to Q&As real quick to make sure I'm not missing anything. Let's see, we have a question about the last day for registering for courses. I believe it would be, you really want to get registered before classes start. So the day before classes start. But I can post the link to the registrar in the chat, and I'll also show you how to find their contact information here in a moment. But the registrar's calendar will show you that, and you can always send an email to registrar@risd.edu, and they can give you a quick answer as to when you would need to register for that last class. So from this page, the next thing I want to show you is involved.risd.edu. So in addition to this online orientation welcome week event calendar, you're going to find additional RISD campus events coming up that are listed on the campus-wide Involved Hub. This is run by the Center for Student Involvement, and this is where you'll see our events, graduate studies with our little identifying branding logo there for orientation 2020 for grads. But you'll also find events offered by other organizations and departments, including things like virtual fitness classes, Pilates, and yoga. You'll see some events for the Office of International Student Services, health and wellness, all sorts of different events, support groups and things like that that are happening across campus that are above and beyond what we're offering in graduate studies. So you're welcome to attend any of those events as well. And like all of the other portals on the RISD site to access Involved, you're just going to sign in with your RISD credentials. So a few other things to point out to you is, let's see, we'll start with the private Facebook group is called the Bulletin Board. This is really a place for current RISD graduate students only to connect with each other, again, across disciplines, across departments, really as if you would use a bulletin board in person. This is a place where you can post, you know, if you need a ride somewhere, or if you're looking to borrow a tool or a type of material, or you're looking for somebody with a particular expertise, or maybe you want to collaborate with somebody. This is a place to post all of those kinds of requests and to connect with your, you know, with other members of the graduate student community outside of your cohort. So I welcome you to go to facebook.com /RISD graduate student community, and I'll post that link again so that you have it, and request to join, and I'll approve that and get you right in there so you can start joining that. There's also a lot of posts in there about housing, roommates, things like that. And then we have our graduate studies Instagram site, which is @RISD Graduate Studies. And this is where we post graduate events, but we also highlight I'm sorry, that's not letting me log in, but we're also posting graduate student artists and designers here and their work. So here we have some recent MFA graduates that we featured, and it allows us to share your work with a wider audience and also to keep our community connected. So if you're not already, I encourage you to follow us over there at RISD Graduate Studies. So let me see. So I'm going to stop screen sharing for now and go ahead and add some more links for you because I'm being told that some of you can't see any of the links. So I want to make sure that I get those in there. In the meantime, if you have specific questions for me, please go ahead and answer them. Please go ahead and enter them in the Q&A and I will be answering them. I'm trying to do too many things at once. I'm going to repost this information for you. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that you wouldn't be able to see it if you joined later. Okay, hopefully you can see those links now. Let me know if you can't. So there's a question about when is the best time to take the collegiate teaching practicum or classes to get me ready for winter session teaching proposal. So I would say it depends on your program. Different programs do have sort of different time slots that work best for actually taking that practicum course, perhaps in your second semester or even your third semester. We also offer several workshops that are designed to prepare you for winter session teaching proposal the actual writing of those proposals. And we usually run those, I'm trying to think, in the fall semester prior to when those proposals are due. Those you can take the workshops. They're usually syllabus writing workshops. I think we're going to try to do them fall and spring this year. You can take those in lieu of a collegiate teaching practicum course because not all programs have the time or space to allow you to fit that actual course into your schedule. So there are different ways to go about it. And we really aim to offer you a lot of support through that process between the workshops, the syllabus writing workshops, and the support of your GPD and your department. We want to make it a really helpful process for you so that you're getting something out of it and out of the experience of learning about preparing a syllabus and planning a course. The next question I'm seeing is this person was trying to make an appointment using QList to get an ID card, but was not able to find it on the RISD app. Is it opened yet? I read an update today from Campus Safety that said that it is not actually ready yet, so that's probably why you're not seeing it. They suggested that you contact Public Safety directly to make an appointment by email. It is important to note that most campus buildings are still closed to students up until about September 16th, which is when in-person classes start. Technically, students who are living on campus are in quarantine for 2 weeks up until that time, and students who are living off campus are expected to be practicing some version of quarantine if you have traveled from one of the states on the Rhode Island list and recently moved into the state or into Providence. Otherwise, there are some specific exemptions to that rule. And if you need to have access to, say, your studio space sooner rather than later, that is something that needs to be determined by your GPD. And you can reach out to your GPD, your graduate program director, directly to see about getting permission for that. So your ID card is what you would use to get into the buildings to get building access. And that is why they're not really rushing, I would say, to get those ID cards to you because they're not really fully functional yet. But they do understand that some students need them for other reasons. So definitely reach out to Public Safety and they will get you hooked up with an appointment to pick it up. The real motive behind that also is that they just don't want crowds and lines forming outside the office. It's a small office. They're not used to having to spread people out who are coming to their office to get ID cards. So it's really an effort to provide social distancing. Let's see, there's a question about, I'm a US citizen, but I don't have my social security card and original birth certificate with me. What are my options for this? That is going to be a question for Student Financial Services. They are the ones who are going to do the paperwork for any work study or assistantship job. I believe just from personal experience, you're going to need either a passport or the social security number and birth certificate in original form. So if you don't have a passport with you, you're going to want to ask them what some of the other alternatives might be for that paperwork for getting the job set up. And then the next question, again, about the student cards or the student number. The question is, I was wondering about whether we could sign things out from the library using curbside pickup. Yes, and if your student number is not working for you yet, the library, you can email them as well, and they're great about responding. They are offering curbside pickup, and they can also walk you through how to set up your account using your student number online if it's not working for you for whatever reason. The library, just to put in a plug for their event tomorrow, they are hosting an info session at, let me grab my calendar real quick, 12 noon tomorrow. The library will be in a live Zoom with us here. So if you'd like to join for that, for more details about what you can access with curbside pickup, you could do that. I'm going to go back and share my screen real quick. and show you once again another resource that would be very helpful. And that is, if you haven't found it already, the info.risd.edu site. And I like to share this one because I was personally on the RISD campus working for about 2 or 3 months before I discovered that this site existed. So it's kind of a buried treasure sometimes. So not a lot of people are aware that it's here, but it is an A to Z campus directory that has loads of information. Not only does it have email addresses and phone numbers, staff member names, building locations, things like that, but it also has a lot of useful links for each department within. One of which, under P, is public safety. And that is where you're going to go to find out more about that ID card situation. You can email them at pubsafe@risd.edu, or you can give them a call. And then you'll also see that each page has related links, documents, downloads, things like that. So that's how you can contact public safety. There's also just, for example, if you wanted to look up graduate studies, which is our office, you'll see listed here my name and email, where we're normally located when we're on campus. We are working remotely this semester, and a little bit about what we do. So this is a very convenient way to find answers when you're not quite sure where to look. Another great one here is, I should have mentioned it when I was on public safety, is the RISD Rides under public safety. That's the shuttle that can drive you within a certain area of Providence, free shuttle service every day from 5 p.m. to 3:15 a.m. during the academic year. And they even have a service area map here. That's really good to maybe bookmark in your phone or on your device so that you can refer back to it when you need a ride. And you can see there the boundaries of where they transport students. There's no cost for that. You just need your RISD ID to access that. And one more thing while I'm sharing the screen that I want to show you is the 2020 Graduate Orientation Guide. We're calling that the Grad Guide. And this is a really great PDF that was developed by 2 of our graduate assistants here in our office, Romik Bosmitra from Graphic Design, MFA 21, and Chetan Dusan, Industrial Design, also class of 21, master's student. And they put together this guide for all returning and incoming graduate students. And filled it with information that they really wanted to be sure that students knew about, information that they felt was important for students to know about. And the nice thing about this is that it's hyperlinked. So you can go through and you can find links to our website. You'll also find links to the social media sites that I mentioned earlier directly. They've included all of the important dates for orientation and welcome week. There's links directly to those online modules. The full calendar of welcome week events, also with hyperlinks, in case you want to access those Zoom links from there. A full academic calendar, as well as a link to the registrar's office. And a campus map. And they even designed the campus map to highlight locations that are very specific to graduate students so that you can see these other buildings in purple here are RISD buildings, but they're not necessarily relevant to your experience. They're things like undergraduate residence halls or offices that do not have any student-facing use currently this semester. So they've included a key and then some really great social equity and inclusion resources that we wanted to be sure everyone's aware of. A few I'll just point out. The community covered food pantry is available to all RISD students, faculty and staff, anyone who's experiencing food insecurity. So if at any time during the semester, starting now, you can email dining@risd.edu to be connected to that resource confidentially, and they'll be sure that you have some groceries and basic necessities if you're in need of that. I also want to point out the RISD ARC, Anti-Racism Coalition. That's a student-run organization, as well as the Social Equity and Inclusion website and the Intercultural Student Engagement website. Both of those are full of so much information that we could not even begin to distill them down to put into the guide. So I really encourage you to take some time and look through those links when you can. Public health guidelines are also included in the guide. And I don't want to take too much more of your time looking through this, but I just want to be sure that you're aware of it. And I'm going to put the link in the chat right now as well for that. You have it and can bookmark it. Let's see. Does anyone have any additional questions? If you do, you're welcome to put them in the Q&A. Let's see, Alexandra, you're asking about how to get your student number. If you want to email me, I can send that to you directly. I do have a spreadsheet that shows me that. I'm not sure where in your portal. I believe you may be able to find it in your admissions portal through the Slate platform, but I'm not sure what that looks like on your end. So just go ahead and email me and I'd be glad to send it to you. It's not a number that you use very frequently, but it is printed on your student ID card. I believe the library is one of the few instances where you'd actually need that number. Let's see. What is the community covered food pantry? So a food pantry is basically, it runs on donations from the RISD community, and I believe a few other outside companies and organizations make donations to it, but it's a collection of grocery items, basics like pasta and canned goods, crackers, peanut butter, things like that, that are just enough to get you through. If you're facing food insecurity in any way, if you financially can't afford groceries at a certain time during the semester, please don't hesitate to reach out to dining@risd.edu and they will connect you confidentially with a bag of basic groceries to get you through. So please don't hesitate to use that resource if you should ever need it. Normally during, I hate to say normally because we're living in a new normal, but in the past it has been in a room in 20 Washington Place, accessible to everybody, but due to the building closures and de-densification, they're asking you to simply email if you're in need of any food items this semester, instead of just accessing it directly. So I don't see anything else in the chat right now. Are there any other questions? I'll give you just a second. I know it's a lot of information, and I thank you for listening to me talk about all the information. Trying to give you information about more information seems to be how things are going in the world right now. There's so much to share about the new way of doing things, even if it's hopefully temporary. So I just want to point out again in the chat, probably the most important links are going to be those graduate study website links. If you head to the welcome event page, you'll find the calendar there. And that will lead you to the links for all of the events coming up this week. Not only are they events with other resources and offices on campus, but there's also a few social events thrown in there. In particular, since I didn't mention, I want to get the date right. On Thursday, September 3rd at 9 p.m., our graduate student community representatives are offering a graduate student networking event, which is just a chance to casually meet some of your fellow students, both in and out of your department. It'll take place online via a Zoom meeting, so you'll be able to see each other and interact and chat and just hang out, hopefully like you sort of normally would have at an open house event on campus this time of year, but we hope that you'll join that. And there's several other opportunities to connect with fellow students as well as different offices and resources. So once again, don't hesitate to email me directly. My email is in here in the chat, Caroline Vasquez, cvasquez@risd.edu. If you have any questions at all, I know this can be really overwhelming, so don't hesitate to use me as your personal direct contact. Again, if I don't have the answer for something or a question, I can almost always point you in the direction of somebody who does have the answer and help you figure out whatever it is that you need to figure out. Moving to a new city or starting at a new institution, even starting school remotely, it's all a lot. You have a lot on your plates, and I understand that. So I want to make myself available to you to help in any way that I can. And on that note, I just want to welcome you to RISD and thank you for joining me. And I hope to see you all at some of the great events that we have planned for you later this week. All right, take care and thanks so much. Bye-bye.